Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special little episode of the Mile High Game Guys here. I am here by myself. Zach and Jeff are not with me, but I am sitting down with Uli from Spielworks, and we are going to be talking about colonialism. So thanks for joining, Uli.
No, thank you for your time for having me. And actually, today I'm here not in my Spielworks capacity, but for Compass Games
Yeah, that's
because
right.
Compass is doing the second edition of Colonialism. Yes.
Right. So let's start with tell us a little bit for people who maybe have not played colonialism. Tell us a little bit about the history of the game. You know, going back to the first edition and kind of where this game kind of came from.
Yes. So in 2011, I think, when Spielworks was really young, I founded the company in 2010. I noticed on Board Game Geek a game called Colonialism by a US designer, Scott Labrand. And I was very interested because the description looked interestingly enough. And so I approached him and he sent me a prototype. And I liked the game so much that I took it under contract and it was published with a small 1,000 unit print run in 2012. But of course, a game with this topic in the Eurotype market is not too easy to market, to sell. So right from the start, Scott, the designer, and me, and graphics artist Harald Lieske. So we thought, how can we do the graphics? How can we not have a PR disaster here right from the start so that people are thinking there are some bloody Germans and some bloody Americans and they are making fun about a really dark period of history. And in my opinion, Harald did a great job here graphically because everything is really dark and pretty serious in the game, right from the cover, which shows some shackles, and the card art is black and white and tells you what is really meant when there is diplomacy. The diplomacy card tells shows a Western guy pressing his thumb on some people, and this is diplomacy in the game because it's a Western style. And so that makes the game really special, in my opinion. So you have no lucky and funny and nice Africans or Asians jumping around on the cover and gladly working and slaving away for the Western masters. And this is something that I or we all together did not want right from the start.
Okay. Which I think, I recently played Colonialism First Edition for the first time, and that was one of the things that we talked about playing it, was that you feel the weight of this game. Like, it does not shy away from the subject matter at all throughout the entire game.
Yes, I think this is, as I just said, is important because this is something that is really close to my heart. We have modern board gaming now for more than 100 years with Monopoly, some German, early German games. But in my opinion, board gaming right now has only reached early childhood status because we always do the same things. We are building cathedrals, we do civilization type games, but it's worker placement games. But in the end, of course, we hardly have, like in video games, any serious gamings. Of course, we have this War of Mine. There are, as a board game conversion, we have a few other games, but to my mind, Colonialism is an early serious game from 2012.
Yeah. I can't think of anything that's that old that really tackled that subject matter. You know, there's a lot of other games that involve settling or exploring new lands, but they shy away from what really happened when that happened. Like they abstract it away and make it not a big deal when really it kind of was. You know, like these were people that were oppressed and wiped aside in the interests of colonial powers and resource gathering and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So this was these are the origins of the game, where we said we want to do such a game, and probably Spielworks was the right early publisher, because a major publisher most probably wouldn't have taken the game and published it. But in my opinion, at least, Colonialism also is, if you look mechanical, just from a mechanical point of view at it, is a pretty nice game. Actually, it is. And most other Spielworks designers know this. It's my favorite Spielworks game because it's very elegant. You play a card from your hand for various functions, and then later something is done. And I think this card playing to a region of the board mechanic is still very innovative, even now that we are in 2018 and not in 2012.
Yeah, that was one of the things, when I was going into it initially, reading that it had like bluffing and area control, and those aren't things that normally really appeal to me. But then once we actually started playing it, to say that it's got bluffing in it is almost inaccurate. It's got, you play cards hidden, but you're not really bluffing about what you played. People just know you've played a card. And really only the first card in each region is hidden. After that, it's all open information. You know what people are playing in different areas as they play more cards in them. So it was very interesting. Like, you could see kind of where people were planning on focusing their power, and you could choose to either increase what you were doing there to combat that, or, be like, all right, they're playing a lot of cards there, I'm going to move away and focus on some other region.
Yeah, I totally agree here, and I'm glad that you like that aspect. Bluffing, to my mind, is probably the wrong term anyway, but the game often has this domino effect. So you play a card, first card, as you just said, is hidden on a region, and others are saying, what is going on there? So they are, like in a domino game go in this region as well. And this is really neatly done, because it is pretty, of course, at a very abstract level, it's pretty historical. And this is, this is what I term an elegant design choice by the author.
So it came out back in 2012, 2013, around that time. And then what's happened to it since then? Like, what led to it? Why now for a reprint? Why now for bringing it back?
Yeah, what is interesting is that during the last couple of years, quite a few companies approached me and said, well, we are interested in licensing it and doing a second edition. And I always got the feedback later, wow, this is a fantastic game, but we don't dare to do it because it's so dark, and probably we don't have the right customer base for this game. And I said, well, yeah, it's your decision. And I was so glad when Compass Games approached me, and Uli, we have seen that Colonialism is there in your catalog, and are the English language rights available? And I said, yes, if you're interested, yes, we should do this game together. And maybe, just maybe, I don't know, it is because Compass Games is a wargaming publisher originally, and they are used to dark topics, to topics that involve conflict. Maybe that was the decisive factor.
So is there any concern, on your end or with Compass or with Scott about bringing back a game this dark at this time in the industry, when people are trying to be much more conscious about representation and how topics are handled tastefully that, are not necessarily tasteful topics?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. So I think there will be criticism, as always there will be, but only by people who haven't looked deep enough into this topic. because I think it is very important that the industry gets more games like this, really serious games. I think we have to mature here and really show that gaming is of course fun. A game has to be good, otherwise it won't be played. But we should look into serious topics. I think we can learn a lot from video games who tackle these topics, and it's high time that we in the board gaming industry do the same thing.
Awesome. So with this second printing, it's going to be on Kickstarter?
Yes, it will be on Kickstarter soon, in a couple of days actually, from this recording, and there will be there is a little bit of new material, new components in the game, and these new components are basically 6 new cards, and a new action in the game. These 6 new cards are placed on the board, and you can purchase these cards with a new purchase action. And they will add something to the game. But to be frank, if you own one of the 1,000 copies of the first print run, you probably don't need the new edition. But as I just said, 1,000 copies is not a lot, and we both know that in the last couple of years, lots of new players entered the hobby, and they get hopefully now a chance to purchase the game and not buy it for a fortune. So this is the main reason why the game is now again up on Kickstarter.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about regarding the new edition or things like that?
Oh, no, I think this is, or people will soon discover on Kickstarter what the new 6 cards are doing. To me, the most important part is really that this game, my favorite Spielworks game, will soon be available by Compass Games in English language, and maybe afterwards I don't know, maybe some other companies that are using other languages are also interested in licensing the game. I would be more than happy, and of course Scott, the author of the game, would be also very happy, because I think this game deserves more, a larger audience for sure. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I think that covers most of my my main questions I had about colonialism here, and with it coming to Kickstarter here in the next few days, then it'll probably be out by the time this episode actually airs. So go over to Kickstarter, check it out, and see if you think if it's for you.
Yeah, and let me again thank you for talking to you, because I know that the ambassador of board gaming has a lot to do. So this is very nice. Thank you for your time and for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure sitting down with you, Uli. I know it's getting later over there in Germany. The 8-hour time difference is sometimes tricky to deal with, but thanks for making it work and coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you.